redo the original the Holy Mother and Child. It didn't come out as clear as I wanted to. So I wanted to tap back in and give you a clear version so you can appreciate the knowledge. You feel what I'm saying? So, when we talking about this, whatever you believe in, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all of those are refurbished versions, remixed versions of the ancient Kemetic Holy Mother and Child, Aset and Horus, known to, by the Greek terminologies of Isis, Horus, Osiris, and it's clear. See, the thing is about ancient Egypt, which we must, we got to get this through our thick ass skulls for everybody out here. The evidence is there. You understand? It's on the wall. You ain't got no walls. You ain't got nothing. You see, so the presence of ancient Egypt in the ancient world is without doubt. When you start talking about the biblical, the mythical, biblical, all of that is up in the air. More likely a lie. You see, never been documented by no other historian, no other culture in the world. Don't know or know Jesus. They don't know or know Moses or know Noah or none of that. You the only one to validate your own lie. And so when it comes, I'm thinking to myself, if God wrote the Bible and he gave the Quran to Muhammad and gave the Torah to Moses, then why would God, replicate something that's already on, been created? The Holy Mother and Child as a holy symbol in spirituality was already, being venerated in Africa, you see, and in the Kushite world. So why would God come behind a, a, a human culture and duplicate, what they have already created? God supposed to be original. God supposed to do things no other entity in the universe could do. You see? And so the fact that you got Isis, Osiris, Horus, and then you got, and not, it didn't even jump straight from Aset, and I say Aset, Asa, and Heru. It didn't even jump straight from Aset, Asa, and Heru. It went into the Serapis, and then you had the Eurocentric Isis, and then you had the little European what's his name, Hippocrates, and and so it went into its Greek version, and then from the Serapis, Caucasian Aset, and the Hippocrates, which is a Greek version of Horus. Then it continued to evolve into where you got the Jesus, the Mary, and the Joseph, and they don't even, God ain't even in that Trinity, you know, and that's crazy because God's supposed to be the Father, and then when you go into the cosmic Trinity, you don't even have the feminine aspect. You see, you don't even have the feminine aspect of the woman in the Trinity in Christianity, Islam. See, that's another serious flaw that they have. Because you ain't gonna have no life without the feminine aspect. That just ain't gonna happen. You could believe whatever the hell you wanna believe. You see what I'm saying? But you not gonna have no life without the feminine aspect. Everything on this planet that I know of. Now, if you know of something else, I'm not even concerned with it. You know, I'm not even concerned with it. Something ain't right with that. I don't even want to know about it. That's some Frankenstein, some goddamn creature that I don't want to know about that. But when you talking about most, that I know of come through, through the mother. Got a mother. I don't give a goddamn what it is. Got a mother. It come through the feminine aspects. And yes, the man is there, but that we're not questioning that. Because the Father, the Holy Father is there. But where's the Holy Mother? You see? and then you want to have children by some obscure, a spirit having a baby by a woman and shit. You want to have some crazy, and I understand the allegory of our set and our saw. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is esoterical. This is an esoterical understanding. You know what I'm saying? And so this is an anthropomorphic story that's really explaining an astrological story, because Horus is the sun, and we talking about the resurrection of the sun, and then, in our own likeness of the cosmos, we saw the resurrection of the sun in ourselves, and so we also resurrect through our children, you know. But once you pass on into the afterlife, your ass ain't coming back. So that's esoterical. What up, family? Yeah, that's esoterical. And you got to understand when it's time to go esoterical. Because too many of y'all, y'all look at surface level understanding and then you lose yourself. You lose yourself. You feel what I'm saying? And so that's one key element about the ancient Kemetic culture where they deified the Holy Mother and Child, and showing there was there was a divine balance there where they venerate, which you don't have that really, because really in Christianity you don't have that. You don't have that because you didn't you give the earthly holy mother and father, but you don't show it in the cosmos, even though esoterically it's in the book, but you got to have somebody crack that code for you and show you that it's in the book. You know what I'm saying? That the Queen of Heaven, which is the Holy Mother, Nu Hathor, is in the Bible. Even the golden calf is the Holy Mother. You can see the cow horns on our set. That's the golden calf. Well, we talking about ancient Kemet. We know what happened. It happened everywhere. And they're not the natives. They're not the natives. They did not beat black, unless you're talking about black people. But black people is still here. Nobody beat black people nowhere on the planet. Black people is the aboriginal people to every continent, except up there at the North Pole, and they just didn't get trapped up there. They might have been up there first too. They just didn't get trapped. I think Matthew Henson was the first modern man to the North Pole. You see, he was the first man, Matthew Henson. So our people was probably first everywhere. And that's what academia say anyway. You know, and wherever the African man and woman went, then. But I don't believe that they changed into nothing else. You know, I don't know where y'all come from. You got to figure that out, man. That's a serious, serious question mark that I'm not, but what we talking about is the Holy Mother and Child, which is, the most divine symbol in all of ancient Egypt. You see, yeah. When we'll talk about that, I'll do a video on the Omax, and we could talk about that. You feel what I'm saying? We got to stay focused right here. We ain't got that much time. We talking, and so that's clear where the black man must focus his energy on the Holy Mother and Child, and come up out of this fraudulent, over masculine patriarchal religion that has collapsed him and unbalanced him from what really, when you look at the height of the black man on the planet, is when he worshipped his mother, when he worshipped his mother. You see, you know what? I'm gonna show you the point. I'm gonna show you the point. There you go. We're gonna that's the point. We're gonna get you on up out of there. You see, because I had no time for no hooligan. The point is, yeah, they up in arms about the cast. I mean, well, it take place in Africa. I was gonna do a video on that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still am. I might just do it after this. But we're gonna. Why are they worried about it? It take place in Africa, but you wanna cosplay. You want to cosplay? It was written to take place in Africa. So what the problem is, you know, shit, you want it, you want it both ways. But I most definitely talk about it. I most definitely talk about it. And I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm all right with the alien, Caucasian alien. I'm all right with that too. Anyway, I appreciate y'all family. Make sure y'all tap in. And the bottom line, Christianity stole the Holy Mother and Child, the Holy Family from the Kemetic science of Osiris, Isis, and Horus, Asa, Aset, and Heru. And why would you go and accept a refurbished version rather than go back to the original one, which is the deification of yourself? You feel me? I'll be right, black family. We just getting started. I had a couple videos that didn't come out clear, and I just want to make sure I tap back in and give you some essence of that so you can run, you have something to do some research with. I'll see y'all in a minute. Do you see a future where we don't talk about black and white? I mean, why would we do that though? I mean, the cosmos put color, the creator put color all through the cosmos. It's there for a reason. Why wouldn't you talk about it? You see, why wouldn't you talk about it? Everything all cultures have a color code. Whether all cultures got a color code. Period. You know what I'm saying? So what's the problem? You ain't gonna erase that. That's all over the world. Every culture on the planet has a color code. So you mean to tell me you think you gonna bleach the world of color? And color is an aspect that's just like the more melanin you got in your eye, the greater the color spectrum that you could see. That's the cosmos. What's the problem? What's the problem? Explain that one to me. Anyway, I'll see y'all in a minute. Black Power.